what is Spaces? Well, Spaces is where students tell a story about why they're so much more than the grades on their report card. It's where students receive real-time feedback to support in-the-moment learning. Spaces is where students, families, and teachers all work collaboratively to support this hybrid model of anytime, anywhere learning. Maybe you prefer comparisons, right? Google Classroom, that's where Jimmy hands in his assignment. Spaces is where Jimmy reflects on his growth. Or the report card, that's where parents get an answer to, how did Jimmy do on his test? Where Spaces, that's where parents get an answer to, what did Jimmy learn at school today? Or if you prefer something a little bit more flashy, Spaces is a student-driven digital portfolio built for 2020. All right. That's the vision anyways. We actually need your help to get there, your feedback. We have the skateboard part built. We just need some smart teachers telling us what to add next. We don't want to build the car that we think you want. We want to build the car that you told us you want. So, are you ready to give your first piece of feedback? I thought you would be. Great. I'm going to paint a picture of how some teachers have told us they see Spaces working in their classroom this year, whatever that looks like. Right? So you can tweet at us. You can let me know if you have a different use case in mind. I would actually love to hear it. In this scenario, I'm going to talk about student-led conferences. I love student-led conferences as a way for my students to speak to their learning from throughout the semester. But, like many things, student-led conferences, they're going to look a little bit different this year. So here's what it looks like from the teacher's perspective. I've invited my students to join my class in Spaces. So the first thing they see is the class space. The class space is really where I'm going to start a conversation. I'm going to post a video explaining what a student-led conference is. I'm going to share some links to examples from last year. And this is where my current students, like Jimmy, we all have a Jimmy, they're going to use this space to ask questions. So really, we're using the class space to connect with each other, to create a community, and to start a conversation. As the teacher, I'm also going to set up individual spaces for Jimmy and all of his classmates. Okay, I'm going to probably call this one student-led conference. I set these up for my students. They may have different individual spaces for different projects or different units, but this specific space is where Jimmy is going to document the individual progress that he's making as he prepares for the conference. Everything from his goals to the evidence he's going to speak to the reflections he's making along the way. I'm also a big believer in peer feedback. So I'm going to organize groups of students within a group space at a few different times throughout the year. Kind of like breakout rooms in Zoom, where you pair students up into groups, and then we're going to ask them to share an artifact with the rest of the group as part of a peer progress check-in. Many of my students and my teacher colleagues, they also create and share personal spaces externally. These personal portfolios, they tell a visual story in a way that report cards and resumes just simply can't. Now, as a teacher, I can easily see a feed of everything that students are adding to these different spaces. I'm engaging with them. I can provide real-time feedback. Most importantly, though, I can start a conversation with them in real time. Now, guys, this is just one example of how I might use Spaces within my classroom. I chose to speak about student-led conferences, but you can really apply this to any project, any assignment, any discussion that's happening in your classroom. Using our iOS or Android app on the smartphone students already have in their pocket, or on our web app, accessible from any device, it's never been easier for students to capture the moments where growth happens, especially in a world where learning is happening anytime, anywhere.